Welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you how to install the FreeBSD 13.0 current. Today is November 7th of 2020. The reason why I'm redoing this is because there is issue when you try to install the FreeBSD 13.0 and AMD GPU drm-devel-kmod for FreeBSD 13.0. The problem is architecture of my GPU, which is Navi for AMD RX 5700 GPU, is not supported in FreeBSD 12, 12.1, 12.2, but it's supported in FreeBSD 13.0. But FreeBSD 13.0 is current, so it's like alpha version of software. It's bleeding edge. A lot of stuff might break, and one of these things that broke, it's actually drm-kmod for AMD GPU kernel module, the GPU driver. So I will show you what you need to do in order to make it work. And the problem that's actually caused all of this mess is the issue actually is someone compiled drm-current-kmod and drm-devel-kmod with the wrong version of the kernel for the FreeBSD. So I'm doing this from the scratch, and I want to show you how you can solve this problem by using and compiling actually version from ports. Compiling by yourself and showing you that it's really nothing hard. It's just like one liner and that's it. And you'll get your system working with the latest driver for, latest available driver for your AMD Navi GPU platform. So without further ado, I'll continue. Make sure that you have only the only option in boot is actually UEFI installer, and of course you can boot select, but on my motherboard I have an issue because every time I try to select the boot device from the boot menu, it doesn't offer me UEFI version of installer, so it just sees as like BIOS installer or whatever on USB flash drive. So right now I'm only have a UEFI, and I'll continue with that one. Save, reboot, and I should be able to enter the installer and install the FreeBSD regularly, like every time I do. And I'll walk you through that process. All right, let's speed it up a little bit. Great, the installer is booting up. I have a fairly decent hardware configuration here, but you know, as you already know, the FreeBSD with the latest hardware sometimes has the issue. One of the reasons why I'm installing this 13.0, as I said, is because I want to support AMDGPU RX 5700, which is Navi architecture. Install, continue with default key map, yes, enter the host name. I'll use FreeBSD 13.0 home. So why I have this home and 0 at the end? Because I like to know where is my FreeBSD running, and I would like to know the number of instances it's running. So on my computer I will have probably 2-3 different FreeBSDs installed 13.0 for different purposes, and also on other machines, and in house I have like 3 desktop machines basically, and probably each one of them will have at some point of time FreeBSD installed. So I'll like to know what's their host name, and I'll just select everything from here. Network configuration. All right, I select IGB0 in my case, which is Intel a gigabit PCI Express network driver. Would I like to configure IPv4? Yes. Which I like to use DHCP? Yes. And now I'll be asked for IPv6, and I'll just ignore it. I don't use IPv6. And for the DNS primary server, I'll use Cloudflare 1111, and for secondary, I'll use Google one for political reasons. Selection of mirror, I'll use the first one, FTP FreeBSD.org. Partitioning, how would you like to partition your disk? I'll use AutoZFS. All right, so I don't need swap. I'm on SSD. I don't need swap. GPT partition scheme, it's going to be GPT only UEFI. That's it. Encryption no. Force 4K sector yes. Pool name 0 yes. Pool type is going to be stripe, no redundancy, and I'll only use Samsung SSD H160 EVO 250 gigabyte hard drive. The other hard drives are for different use, Linuxes, other BSDs, and so on. And I'll proceed with install. The last chance, ZFS configuration, last chance. Are you sure you want to destroy the current contents of the following disks? Other two? Yes, I'm definitely sure. Right now it's fetching, and it's gonna really soon start extracting these distribution files that we selected in the initial screen when I selected debugging version, lib32 debug, lib32 test, source, ports, and so on. And I want to tell you something, like this is the 5th time today I'm recording this video, and every time I found something different regarding either the installation, the BIOS UEFI conflict, or issue with the AMDGPU, like drm-kmod version, and conflict with the kernel. It's just like, it was a really rough day. That's the reason why at the beginning I said, make sure there is only one boot device available, and that's UEFI, USB installer. After this, we'll go revisit the BIOS settings, and we'll set FreeBSD UEFI bootloader, but not from the USB, but the one that's going to be installed right now. So there was some practice. I think this is my 5th time today recording this. I enjoyed. One thing is, I mentioned 4 times in the previous videos, not published, that I like curses and I have nostalgia for this interface that's in console only. I like to see it so much, like it brings so many great memories and times when back in 90s, when all interface I actually had was, the console. I started in programming using computers. The reason why I started using computers was programming, not gaming, like in many cases. So I'll continue story later. Root password will be something relatively strong. It's again the local machine. It's not the internet server or whatever. Is this machine CMOS clock set to UTC? I think yes. Select your region, Europe, and I'm currently located in Republic of Serbia. Exotic place to be in these weird times of Corona. And I'll select NTP update and MTPD. It will allow me to synchronize my date and time over the network every time I boot my computer. So the process will be a little slower, a few seconds slower, but I'll get the correct date and time. And I'll also enable power D because I want to adjust the frequency of my CPU according to, to the needs of computers. So it doesn't have to run highest frequencies if it's not required. And that's all. And also, when it comes to hardening, I will clear TMP, temporary folder, file system, whatever it's called, in every time I reboot computer. Anyway, who doesn't want that? Would you like to add users to install system now? Yes, I'll add my user, which is mtasik. You'll add yours. My full name is Marco Tasik. UID leave empty for default. Login default mtasik. Login group is mtasik. Invite mtasik to other groups. Yes, I need mtasik to will. Login class default. Shell sh. Home directory is home mtasik, which is actually linked to a zroot volume. On ZFS file system. Home directory permissions leave empty for default, yes. Use password-based authentication, yes, because this is my local computer, it's not server. Use empty password, no. Use random password, no. Enter the password, again I'll enter some, slightly secure password. Lock out the account after creation, no. Is this correct? Yes. Would you like to add other users to system? No, please, for now. And I will exit now, and I'll be asked to reboot my computer. And after I reboot it and I hear the sound beep, I will go to BIOS just to check if we can see UEFI bootloader just installed on the hard drive. Where is the FreeBSD 13.0 fresh installation of FreeBSD 13.0 installed? On my machine it's delete. It's usually delete or escape to go to BIOS. All right. Oh, and you see right now there is only a UEFI FreeBSD loader on Samsung SSD 860 EVO 250 gigabytes. Just to tell you how you can differentiate UEFI bootloaders from others. Usually they have names like Grub, Windows Boot Manager, UEFI OS. This one is actually for Alpine. It didn't set anything else than just label UEFI OS. FreeBSD has a label FreeBSD. So just select that one and that's it. You go save settings, and trust me, this will eliminate some of the issues that might arise with UEFI installers. Right now, we'll boot into a freshly installed FreeBSD 13.0. This is x86 64-bit, and the first thing we'll do, we'll go to ports folder, and we are going to compile and install the correct-kmod. I'll try to keep it short, so there is no confusion what you need to do. There are two versions. There is a drm-current-kmod and drm-devel-kmod. I think the current is probably more stable, and it reflects what's on the 13.0 FreeBSD, because that's the current. However, uninstall devel. You can always switch to current if you would like. So cd usr ports graphics drm-devel-kmod, and you just say make install clean. That's it. It's easy like that. You might be asked questions, as you'll see, in a interactive manner. Do you want to enable like debugging and stuff like that? I would like to have debug enabled so I can see like what's going on in the case of error. Okay. All right, so now we have it's compiled, it's installed, and we have instructions what to do. It tells first thing we need to do. I'll switch to different console by pressing Alt F2. I'll log in again as root, and we need to edit two files. First one is bootloader.conf, and in that one we're going to add the following thing: h w.syscons disable equals 1. There is the conflict on UEFI machines when the AMD GPU is running, and it's stated in documentation. It's also stated here that it should be added, like it's stated here. syscons disable equals 1. All right, so we save that file. The second file we need to edit is etc.rc.conf, and then we're going to add one more line. Basically, I just need to say which modules I want to load, and I'll say kld list equals AMD GPU. That's it. That's the one. And one more thing before end, we need to add a user, our users, to a group video. First user root and then my user mtask. And that's it, folks. We're just gonna reboot now and wait. Hopefully we will boot into a correctly working FreeBSD with the right driver. So in less than 20 minutes we were able to semi-manually install the FreeBSD and the driver, but without the desktop environment. Installing the desktop environment is going to take additional time, but I'll explain the steps. It's quite simple. So we'll need to install the Xorg, X11 server. We'll need to install the lightdm desktop manager, like graphical login manager. And just to tell you one thing, right now when the system boots, there will be a frame buffer artifact. As you can see, a yellow line on the top, and that's usually indication that something's happening. It's not the driver actually; it's actually a frame buffer artifact. And right now, driver should load, and when it loads, I should see on both screens a better, high resolution text. And if that happens, that means that and it just happened, that we successfully loaded the correct driver for our FreeBSD 13.0 current generic kernel, and we manually compiled it. So just so it was one line, you go to, actually 2 lines, you go to user ports graphics drm-devel-kmod, and you just type make install clean. That's it. So right now log in, and after I log in, right now we're going to install the Xorg server. Just type akg, and let's update first. Let's do the proper update before we continue. So it'll ask me a couple of things, do I want to fetch? Yes. All right. And now I'll say pkg install Xorg. What this will bring, it's gonna install 182 packages and roughly 1 gigabit of space, which is peanuts today. With this, we'll get the Xorg, low-level libraries, stuff like that. The next one will be to install the right Xorg, driver loader. After that, we'll install the lightdm, and after that, we'll install the Xorg. Once we get into the Xorg, I will enable the Linux compatibility layer and install the OBS Studio. And once the OBS Studio is installed, I'll switch from recording using my camera, hello, to just using this camera. In this case, I use GoPro 8 Hero because my webcam is not working, and I have a Logitech C920 Pro, which is 1080p webcam with a high resolution. It's really nice camera, it works great on Linux and Windows, but it doesn't work on FreeBSD, on none of the BSDs I tried. I know it's not the FreeBSD fault, it's the compatibility issue with webcamd, but still webcamd doesn't support it. So instead of installing the webcamd from PKG directly, I'll go again to ports and install it from ports, because I saw that there is a patch and there should be a newer version in ports. And if I install that one, I should be fine. But we'll see that. So that's coming as well. Idea is to get like the decent desktop environment in this video in less than an hour if it's possible, and just switch, you know, and continue using that system. In the previous installation of FreeBSD over the last couple of months, it was really nice to work with. I had resolved the issue how to run my software in Docker, because I use Docker for running, you know, the locally software, and I'll show you that how to do that in one of the next videos. For now, I just want to resolve this mystery around the FreeBSD 13.0 current and the latest drm-kmod incompatibility with the current kernel. And while this is happening, I would like to say a couple of things, maybe interesting, maybe not. I'm 35 years old. I started working in developing in 1993, and I was really happy. Back then I started with Commodore, with Amiga, 286, 386, 486, 586, Pentiums, like all this, and I switched, you know, my first real operating system was Windows 3.11, 3.10, 3.11, then Windows 95, then Windows 98. Then I had XP and Linux at the same time. So, and eventually I switched to early 2000s to just Linux, and since then I am a prominent user of Linux. Just I liked it a lot since I started using a BSD, and to be honest, I like a philosophy in FreeBSD more than in Linux. I'm not saying it's better one or another. It's just my personal taste. Like FreeBSD, I feel confident what they do, and I know, as you saw, like as we resolve the issue with the graphical driver, that will be super hard if it's closed source or you need to read tons of manuals. All right, let's continue. So right now we need to install pkg install XF86 video AMDGPU. Yes, then we need to install pkg install, as I said, lightdm and lightdm-gtk-greeter, because there has to be some greeter. Light. I misspelled. When I learn to spell, this won't happen. So I'll install 60 packages and roughly 400 megabytes. All right. So I started using a FreeBSD on daily basis like a few months ago. I recorded that video how to install the FreeBSD. It was really great. I announced switch to FreeBSD. A lot of great reactions. That video like hit like 2,000 views by now, maybe more. And it gave me like ideas of how to bring things that I use outside of FreeBSD to BSD, but not affect the FreeBSD as FreeBSD, just to complement it with tools that I use from, you know, outside. One of these things is Docker. Another thing is I like Vim, but I don't use it for like huge projects. All right, let's see what it says. All right, so right now I'll need to go and edit all right, so it's not in Etsy, but it's in user local Etsy lightdm.conf, and there will be the greeter session, and in that greeter session, it's here, we're going to say greeter session equals lightdm drm-gtk-greeter. And that's it. We'll need to go, and I'll also need to install, before I do that, all right, let's just finish this. So I'll go to etc rc.conf, and we need to run this, daemon. So it's lightdm-enable equals yes, lightdm-enable equal yes, all right. And let's install as well Vim. I like Vim more than V. To be honest, I don't use any features in V that are not available in Vim that are not available in V, but Vim somehow, like, there are some like quirks with V, so that's the reason I use Vim. But I'm not heavy on plugins or anything. So now we'll need to install, because we assume that lightdm works, we need to install the graphical desktop environment. In this case, we'll use XFCE and XFCE for, I think it's called goodies. Yes. So install 133 packages, 354 megabytes of space it's gonna take. All right, so besides Docker, there is one editor that I depend on and I really like, and that's Sublime Text. To run it on FreeBSD, you need Linux compatibility, and it works just fine. So that's are basically two tools I depend on. Firefox for, that's my browser of choice, Thunderbird email client of choice. I prefer web-based versions of, third-party services such as Slack, Rocket Chat, Skype, Microsoft Teams, on whatever is required for work. And no one actually notices that I'm on FreeBSD while I work. There is really everything looks like it's on Linux. Like, I don't have any issues. I can share screen, I can have conference calls, I can do whatever I want. The problem I have is the webcam. I have like old cam, like 720p, also Logitech, which works fine. But I hate it. It's really bad. It's like 5-6 years old camera. I want to use camera from last year, from 2019. There might be another issue, and that's related to dbus. So install dbus and hald. All right. So we also need to install dbus and hald besides Xorg and XFCE. And I'll need to enable them as well in rc.conf. rc.conf. So we need dbus enable equals yes. Also hald daemon equals yes. And let's reboot now. And that was the issue. Dbus and hald are required for lightdm to work. Right now I'm gonna select XFCE session and I'll log in for the first time. I'm not gonna do any customization now. I'll just not heavy customization, but so I want in FreeBSD, there is a do as, since I come from Linux and I'm used to sudo, I'll just use sudo for now. But I have a plan to adopt more to do as instead of sudo. and we need to enable to enable wheel all. I'll still need to type password. So let's see if it's gonna work right now. Sudo ls root works great. All right, so now I need install Firefox. Okay, I also need sudo pkg install pulse audio and power control. And there is one more thing, pkg search pulse. I need this plugin, pulse audio plugin for XFCE. Power control, yes. All right, in the meantime, let's set up Linux compatibility, so I can install Sublime after this. So just go to sudo vim at crc.conf, Linux enable yes, and okay, for Linux compatibility to be enabled at boot time, enable these two lines on I will automatically load the model. All right, since Linux binary compatibility has gained support for running both 32 64-bit binaries, it's no longer possible to link emulation functionality statically into custom kernels. Okay, I don't really care. All right, so now I'll do load Linux and Linux 64, so I don't need to restart everything, and I'll just say pkg search Sublime sudo pkg install Sublime Linux Sublime 3, and if I install this and run it and it works, it means we succeeded, and I currently have Firefox working, my Sublime editor working, and there is one more thing. I'll give it a try, but there is really no promise it's gonna work, and that's webcamd. So if to try to enable, but I'll compile it from the scratch, to try to enable my webcam C920p or something like that. Pro version of webcam, Logitech webcam. So far so good, everything is fine. People last time reacted to they said that my Arch Linux looks better than the FreeBSD. I don't think it's related to Arch versus FreeBSD. It's XFCE like settings. It doesn't have to do anything with operating systems, but okay, it's installed. And all right, so now we have some instructions here. And first thing is, and this is the reason why I like to follow these instructions. So it says, go to Vim, just one more thing. Yeah, okay. At sudo rc no fstat this time. I need to copy paste this one. This is all for Linux. It's required by Linux. Compatibility layer. Okay. And now I'll say mount, sudo mount, so I don't have to restart it, and sudo mount this one. Let's run Sublime now, and compatibility layer works fine. That was great. Okay, pkg backup the root and 2011 today's 270. Alright, let's just see if it exists there. Yes, it's here. Alright, so now I can do this. To download compressed snapshot apart into var, then run user ports extras into, okay. So last time when I run this command, it actually screwed my pkg, like SQLite file. So right now I made a backup on time. Okay, while this thing is installing, let's do sudo pkg search OBS. Alright, install, there is OBS Studio, this one. And we should be able from now on to record the screen capture from OBS instead of this camera. So I'll try to reboot after this and hopefully have my microphone working at least, and I'll keep using my GoPro here, just for any case. Pulse audio plugin. Okay, let's reboot now. And hopefully, if the webcamd, not webcamd, OBS Studio is working and can capture, I'll just switch from camera finally to OBS here. Moment of truth. Let's test the microphone as well. Run OBS Studio. Okay, optimize for recording, next. All right, next. So right now it's like doing its bizarre thing. Apply, yes. All right, let's add screen capture. Okay, this works on this screen. All right, let's, while I'm here, I want to test microphone. The wrong microphone is selected, definitely not this one. Bam, bam, properties. Bam, 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 bam. No, it's not this one. Maybe it's 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. All right, I think that's it. I really believe that's the one. Okay, let's do the proper recording just to see if it's gonna work. Start recording. Great. This is test. Microphone is fine. Microphone is fully operational and working. That's really nice. I'm really happy to see this. All right, stop. How to test this? I'll install sudo pkg install VLC. Let's see, it says it's already installed. This is weird. Continue. Open file. Marco. Test. Microphone is fine. Microphone is fully operational and working. That's really nice. I'm really happy. All right. All right. So we are fine. I will right now just switch. I'll keep camera running for any case, but I will switch basically recording from here. A few more things. Setup, stream, output, encoder. All right, high quality in distinction, larger file size. All right, that's good. Advanced encoding settings. Now this is for streaming, software, low CPU, increase file size. Now, so let's record. Let's do the demo recording now. Welcome from my FreeBSD desktop, and I would like to show you a couple of things. It's just as default. I'll run YouTube. And YouTube audio library. Relatively free tracks, yes, so we don't get banned. Nice. All right, let's try to set up the webcam. For setting the webcam, let's do so. This is the terrible practice, but good enough for now. All right, we are fetching the latest metadata about the ports. I'll extract it for first time. It's gonna just overwrite everything that's in user ports, and I'll immediately try to install, before I say update, to install something from PKG. Because that was the issue before, and I think actually this one screwed it up. There are quite a lot of ports available for. Ports are like definitions how you can manually build your software that's not supported by or not in PKG database by default, or there is some issue, there is latest version not compatible or something, or with some new feature. So let's say sudo pkg, just pkg install nano. We're fine, pkg update. No issues, great. Let's now do update. Everything is update, great. Let's go to user ports, multimedia, webcamd. And let's say make install clean. Same thing like before, but configure already happened. Let's just stop it for a second. I'll do clean, make clean, make install clean. This is weird. Okay, I want docs. I'll say pkg remove webcamd. It works, great. And I'll do auto remove everything that depends on it that we don't use anymore. Great. Make clean, make config again. I need compat, debug, hal, input. I actually don't need input. I just need webcam, that's all. Then I'll say install clean again. So we have again some instructions what we need to follow. So inside of loader sudo vim here we need to say cruise load yes, and also webcamd enabled yes in rc etc rc.conf. I'm still like trouble after all these years if it's etc or etc or etc. And I need to add a user there. I'll add two users, user root and user task. That's me. Cleaning. All right, let's actually restart the computer and let's see if this is working. We're going to reboot now. All right, let's see now if OBS can recognize my camera. Add. So I'll have it like this here. Add VLC. No, VLC. Okay. No, it doesn't recognize webcam. This is insane. Anyway, I don't care. I will end up here my my today's tutorial, and next time I'll show you how you can do Docker, and I'll show you a workaround for this webcam issue that I'm having. So I want to use webcam. Until next time, stay safe and stay good, and let's explore more FreeBSD. This was a long day.